Sim Racing Dan here with the Season 3 opener for ISRA League's Grand Touring Championship Series, sponsored by O'Neill PC Systems. We are just finishing up the pace lab here and about to go green. I qualified in 6th position here, and there's the green flag. Got a great start, and getting just to the right of John, and have gotten past him, it looks like. Yes, from the chopper view you can see, but I didn't want to force the issue. Let him by on turn 1. It's way too early to be ruining your race now. So as you can see, this is a slightly different race than or video than I've usually done. I'm trying something new, trying to keep it fresh and interesting, and trying to incorporate everyone in the league in my videos. So what we have here, first of all, is a full-length video. This is the full 132 minutes of racing. And in order to keep that interesting, I've put an inset in the lower left, which is recorded off of iRacing's most exciting cam. So hopefully that'll get some decent shots and the interesting parts of the race. I've also got a little cheat sheet to help me announce this. So it looks like in our inset, alright, so first of all, I'm here behind Don Hunter, and he got past me on turn 1 with a good aggressive move, and we are now looking at Matthew. Well, let's see. So Matthew Shoemake is in the center late model, and I believe, let's see, who is he following? I think that's Jonelle. Yep, that looks like Jonelle Hart. And the white late model, can't quite tell because we could have a couple of this, but I think that might be Eric. That's probably Eric Palacio. So this season, brand new season of... Oh, Don goes crashing into the wall. Didn't catch that on the lower left, but if you were watching my view, he got off, and when he was returning to the track, he gave it too much power and just, man, really bashed that thing up badly. Going through turn 1 here as I am, puts me, I believe, now in 5th position. No, it's going to put me into 6th. I was in 7th. And I'm trying to catch up with John Middleton now. So the lower left... Oh, right. So I was describing the season. So brand new season, Season 3 of the Grand Touring Championship. And this season we replaced the V8 supercar with the late model, which you may know from oval racing, but it actually is pretty decent on a road course, and it fit the speed difference perfectly. So now I think on this track the qualifying times were pretty much 10 seconds apart between the late model and the Mustang, and the Mustang and the Miata. So a great matchup of cars right there. It'll make things a lot more interesting for traffic, because the late models are definitely faster than anyone else, but they can't blow by everyone on the straights the way the V8 supercar did. So it should look a lot more like regular multi-class racing that you might see on TV. Additionally, they don't lose as much time if they get caught behind someone, so it should be a little bit less painful in those slow corners. Looking at the lower left here, I believe we have David Sarwa chasing... Let's see, who is he chasing? Oh, I may not have the person's paint. That's not good. Well, my cheat sheet isn't complete, but I will definitely work on it for next race. And, let's see, is that Colin? Colin behind him? I believe it is. I think we're finishing lap 3 here. And just cruising along right behind everyone in the lead, so making decent time. That turn 1 is really nasty. You feel like you should be going much faster through it, but it's, first of all, extremely bumpy, so getting grip is quite difficult. And it's also deceptively difficult. Looks like I'm being chased pretty closely here by Jonelle and Matthew Shoemake, who are in the video, and that's Jeremy Burris ahead of them. Here's the camera's going kind of crazy, trying to pick the most exciting part. This is Colin. Colin looks like he must be making a move on David here. And back to Matthew and Jonelle. And once again, back to David. So the most exciting camera view is definitely exciting for me to try to keep up with. Looks like Colin is right 2 car lengths behind David now. And for my race, it looks like I am definitely catching up with John here. Well, he may have gotten a little bit of a run right there. I had a lot of trouble with that corner, taking the curb a little bit more than I wanted to. So a little bit more about this race. It is an enduro race as classified by the GTC rules. And so 2 pit stops are required on this one for all cars. You don't have to do anything in your pit stop. You can do a stop and go if you'd like. But it is required to get in twice. Looks like Matthew just went off. Not sure if he was able to get back on successfully. Oh, I went a little bit, back end went a little bit out on that turn, last turn rather. And, able to keep it together, but I probably lost a little bit of time. Most exciting cam once again, focusing on David here, which is probably a good call because he is fighting here in 2nd place with Colin right behind him. One other mistake I made here was that my graphical settings on the race were set to display only 20 cars, and I didn't realize that meant that only 20 cars would make it into my replay. So at times in the lower left view, in the chopper view there, you're going to see cars blip in and out, and basically that's happening because they're far enough on the track from me that it just couldn't keep track of them all. But I've upped that number to 42, and I should just go up and make it 45, which is the complete maximum if we had a totally full field. And hopefully that won't be an issue anymore. As I said, you know, trying something new and working out the kinks here. So one of the reasons that I did this also, I wanted to incorporate everyone in the league in the race video, but I just don't have the time to go through and edit an interesting video from everyone's race perspective, so I'm relying on the most exciting cam here to do that for me. And it looks like it's doing a pretty decent job. The only time it really gets, I guess, confused is when there's the classes get together, which is going to happen now in the next lap, as we are now, I believe, on lap 6. And when the classes get together, of course, you get what it thinks is very close racing, but in fact it's just one class passing the other. So it's going to jump around a bit pretty soon as the late model leaders here catch up with the Miatas. Let's see if I was right on that lap number. I think I was. Following John down the straight here as I am. No, it looks like... maybe that's a 7. Tough to tell. I had to go down to 720p for this video. Otherwise it would just be too big. Looks like Colin is doing a great job of sticking to David, though. David didn't take that right-hander very well, but Colin, it looks like, was worried about running into him and had to brake a little bit extra and got on the gas a little bit late, so he does not gain anything through that mistake. Another thing I learned here is that the videos will start to get a little bit out of sync as I recorded the lower left in 30 frames a second, and the main video here is in 29.97. That's something I'll fix for next video because fraps can be 29.97. Alright, well, looks like we're going in here with... Oh, no, we were looking at Jonelle and Jeremy Boris, but now we are back with the Colin-David fight. And now again, back to Jonelle and Jeremy. Jeremy in his Domino Pizza livery. And back to Colin and David. Looks like we've got two great fights going on in the late model field here. Oh, Colin getting very close there under braking. David leaving a little bit of a trail as he takes turn one. Looks like he went in maybe a little bit too hot. Let's see if Colin's able to take advantage of that. It looks like he's closing a little bit. He is indeed. Colin closing, but not before the turn. And turn in here looks nice and tidy on both their parts. I'm coming down the front straight now. Looks like I'm probably, what, 15 seconds behind the race leader. Yeah, it looks like 14 seconds behind Colin, according to the F3 screen there. And I am also keeping pretty steady distance behind John, but maybe closing a tiny bit. Back to Jonelle in the lower left. And who are we looking at now? This looks like, nope, it can't decide. There's just too much exciting stuff going on. And the completely livery-less white, he must not have uploaded the skin, but thought he did, car. Alright, we're back to Jonelle and Jeremy, and back to David and Colin. Looks like on my race, John is getting very close. So it's just a matter of time before I'm able to pressure him and see if I can get him to make a mistake. Oh, here we go. David passing a Miata. So finally we have the different classes mixing it up now. Now is when things are going to start to get interesting. Up until this point, it's all been single class racing across the field. And again, for you Miata drivers and Mustang drivers, I'm sure that once I've upped that graphical setting to include more cars, it'll have more of your racing here, as we've lost your first 6 laps to not seeing them. Alright, David once again passing Miata right on the straight. There's where you can see the speed difference between the late model and the Miata. Pretty significant there. A lot less significant when it comes to the Mustang. You'll see, as I try to make some passes there, around the low speeds, I think the Mustang actually holds its own pretty well. It's only once you get above 100 miles an hour that the Mustang starts to top off and the late model really takes off. Well, I'll tell you from my perspective, it's really interesting and challenging to try to track both sets of videos here at the same time and talk about them. Oh, what happened here? That white car, that unliveried car that I don't have a cheat sheet for, so I don't know who the driver is. He was in the lead, but it looks like he's fallen back now. David passing a pair of Miatas. That looked like Sean Cuthbertson. I didn't catch the other driver right behind him. An unfortunate start here for Alex Hulary, our league admin. He got a 1x, I believe, on his first qualifying lap and ran out of fuel on the second one, and so unfortunately he had to start from the pits according to the new season rules if you fail to put in a qualifying time. That rule is there because... Oh, wow, I'm going right in through a turn. That looked like... was that Dean? That was Dean. He said it looked okay. I did apologize for squeezing him a little, but he seemed to think it was all right. You know, it's our first race here with all these cars together, so just sort of getting a feel for how they race together. And you know, we've practiced together, but that's never the same as driving in anger. Looks like Jeremy is now behind Dean. I think that puts him, what, like about 6-7 seconds behind me. Jonelle is right behind him as well. Let's see, what was I saying about the cars? Yes, so we've obviously tried them out in practice, but it's never the same as when you're in a race, when things matter. And here's where the camera's going a little crazy in the lower left, thinking that there are lots of exciting things going on, but it's just the fast classes passing these slower classes. Right, so Alex Ueri did not turn a valid qualifying lap, so under the new rules, you have to start from the pits if you fail to turn a qualifying lap. And the reason for that rule was to eliminate the issues that happened right at the beginning of the race with the faster classes trying to charge their way through the slower classes and sort of disrupting their race. So now there's more of a penalty. The slower classes have an opportunity to spread out a little bit before the fast cars get to them. The 90-minute race length here puts the lap total at 40 for the late models. So somewhere in there we have to figure out when to pit and what to do when we pit. Oh, here I am going right into that turn once again. Side by side with the Miata, no problem. That was Chem there, who I went side by side with, and he handled it great. There in the lower left, got a quick shot of me and Chem, but gone now. That looks like Jeremy passing Jerry Knitter here. Jerry Knitter through the turn. Jerry Knitter right behind Chem in the Miata class. And Jonelle has gotten a little bit caught up with them. Looks like Jeremy got a decent advantage in that multi-class exchange. Oh, hey, look in the late model class. It looks like Matthew Shoemake is right back up here with that unliveried car, and Jonelle right ahead of him. So things are definitely within a couple seconds here in the late model, the GT class. The unliveried car going for a pit stop. I'm so sorry, driver, whoever you are. I wish I could call out your name. I'm sure you'll tell me when you watch the video. Looks like John here, John, who's ahead of me, is getting a little bit slowed by some Miata traffic. This, I believe, is Russell Cow, and I don't think I have a cheat sheet for the other Miata. And here we're looking at, that looks like Lance, I believe. Tough to tell Lance and Carl apart. I can do it by, no, that's Carl. I can tell by the hood decal. And Carl chasing here, let's see, Sean Jury, and right ahead of them is Jills. And they get past the Miata traffic and having a really good close race here. And there is Jeremy once again negotiating traffic. Looks like he got a little bit slowed. Tried to make the pass down in the braking zone and couldn't do it, and actually you can see where he lost a lot of time. Oh, he got passed by Jonelle. Jeremy Boers passed by Jonelle right there. Matthew Shoemake coming up right behind. He really got slowed up trying to make a move too early on that Miata, and it cost him a lot of time. You could see the Miata made it through the turn faster than he did, and oh, Matthew having a tough time over that curb. That's another tough turn here at Sebring, where you feel like you can take a lot of speed into it, and you really can't. And curbs are quite tall, so as you can see, he got a bit dislodged there trying to get back on track. And as I'm coming through the last turn here, we've got Jeremy and Jonelle. Jeremy passed Jonelle again somewhere in there. I missed that. I apologize for not commenting on that, or maybe it just didn't show it, but they are right on my tail, not too far behind at all. 5 seconds it looks like, so you know, that's just one mistake behind me. And we've got Kevin in the Miata being passed on both sides. On the left by Jeremy in the late model, and on the right by Carl in the Mustang. Carl, though, through that turn sequence, ends up behind him, and Jeremy and Jonelle took the inside line on that turn and get through past the lapped traffic. We're concentrating now on Matthew Shoemake, and now back here to John, I believe it is. John Middleton, yes, and in the Mustang, who are we looking at? I don't think that was Tim. That may be another one I don't have a cheat sheet for. The cheat sheet was a little difficult to create because I did it based on screenshots of the cars that I was able to find, but of course with my 20 car limit, depending on where I was on the track, I tried different points in the race. Different cars were available to me. Here's Jills getting passed by, I believe that's David in the 18. Yep. And Colin now. Colin making some passing through some Mustang traffic. Sean, and now... Oh, I'm not sure who... that may have been Chuck. I think that was Chuck right there. And once again, looks like the exciting race here is between Jeremy and Jonelle, who have just been right within a second of each other this whole race long, and already did a good job at exchanging positions. Not a whole lot of passing going on. That was another reason that I wanted to incorporate everyone into this video. I didn't do very much passing, so there were some interesting parts where I had some close racing, but most of it was behind me. So it would have ended up being another sort of boring video on my part if I'd kept it just from my perspective. And let's see, you can see I'm going through turn 1 there with a Mustang. I think that was Timothy Stoll. Great job negotiating that side by side. Let's see, so what was I saying about the video? Oh yeah, so I didn't do a video for our final race at Road America from Season 2 because it was a good race for me. I finished 3rd, but again, it just wasn't all that interesting a race to make a video out of from my perspective. I just sort of drove real strong behind Eric Foss and Colin McLean, and did that the whole race long. So it was a great race, tough and great driving, but not too exciting to make a video out of. Looks like Tim is being hounded now by Jeremy and Jonelle. Let's see how they do as the turn sequence here comes up in a right-hander, followed by the left... nope. I'm sorry, they are past that. They were at the next right-hander. And this is a left-hander coming up, nice high speed, and they get by no problem. Get by Tim without any trouble. And it looks like I'm coming up on someone. This could be Jill based on the bright green paint. We'll see as I pass. And nope, that looked like it might have been Tim McLeish. Yeah, I think it was. And I think John here, where is he? He looks like he's in the single digits of seconds ahead of me, but it must be about 6 seconds because I don't see him anywhere heading down the front straight. Concentrating now here on Sean and now Dean, and let's see who that is. Unfortunately, it's another one of those cars I just didn't get into my cheat sheet. Now this is John who's ahead of me in the late model in the brown car, and so we can see how long it takes me now to catch up. I believe that was Jill who he just, Jill's who he passed. And we've got John Middleton here following a black Mustang. That black Mustang probably belongs to Chuck, but it could be John. And here's Tim getting past, and let's see, here we are again. He's got the skull and crossbones on the top. Let's see if I can find that car. Yep, that is John Mercedes in the Mustang, being chased here by John, who's looking for an opportunity to pass. There's the really deceptive, tough right-hander coming up, and they go negotiate that very nicely. As I am coming up to, let's see, not sure who this Mustang is that I'm chasing. Let's see. Oh, it's Chuck Chambliss. Chuck, who has a red hind section. I gotta make note of that. And coming up, I'm checking my fuel, seeing how many laps left I've got on. Just got a little pass there on Sean in the... Oh, we can see in the lower left, and now we can't. That was Sean Cuthbertson in the Miata, who I just passed. Here's Lance. Lance now being chased by John. John again being the late model ahead of me. So hopefully this will get interesting as I am also entering the turn one. Getting a little bit out of sync here, unfortunately. As I said, different frame rates, so it's tough to tell exactly how close I am, but it looks like I'm 1.5 seconds behind Lance. So John, who just passed Lance. And it looks like John probably left a little dirt cloud there for me. And here you can see the late model catching up with the Mustang, but not too quickly. Down into the braking zone. And here's where I'm going to be able to make my pass on Lance. Lance in the Mustang to the left of me, and now it's just John. So John looks like he is tangling with some other lapped traffic in the other class, slowing him down. He went on the wide line through that right-hander, and we can see right in the lower left, focusing on John, and he's the guy I'm chasing, so should be a pretty good representation of what's going on. Dean, I believe, ahead of me here. Yep. And I think that is Eric being focused on in the lower left. And it looks like Eric is ahead of David. Eric Palacio. I've been calling him Palacio, but I think that that's wrong. That's my Italian bias on the pronunciation there. His brother, though, Julio, I assume that is not Italian, since you're not going to find too many J's in that language. So I apologize for pronouncing that incorrectly all this time on all these videos, but I'll do what I can. And let's see, that Mustang with the stripe across the front is also one not in my cheat sheet. but both Eric and David get by. Looks like Colin then is in third position now. Colin, is he... No, at this point, Colin may have chosen to do a pit stop. I know that he did one at some point here, and it looks like on my F3 screen he's behind me. But who is this ahead of me? I can't do... Troy Anderson, that's who it is. Alright, so Troy Anderson right ahead of me. And I'm able to make the pass. And get down into this turn. I thought he was lap traffic, but it doesn't look like it from my F3 screen, so that may have been a legitimate pass. No, it wasn't. He was lap traffic there. In the lower left now, we're looking at Chem. Chem following. Let's see if I can identify that. Nope, can't tell who that Miata is. And that is the race leader here, Eric, coming through, which means David is not going to be too far behind. And there's David in the lower left as I negotiate traffic here as well. Braking into that tough right-hander. I took it a little bit too wide. Held onto it, just lost a little bit of speed there. And there you can see in the lower left, it's going to show me making the right-hander there. It looks like it's about a second out of sync here, 31 minutes into the race, which really isn't too bad. So it should be a pretty good indicator of what's going on in the race while I'm driving. Colin now. Colin heading down. Which straight is this? Let's see, we can tell by the turn. Wow, here's a late model we haven't seen too much of yet this race. That looks like, well, it's not Dawn, and again, not on my cheat sheet. So unfortunately, I can't announce that car. The 37 there being followed by Colin very closely. Oh, maybe that was Troy. That must have been Troy. Yep. Alright, so Colin, yes, has made an early pit stop, and looks like he is behind me at the moment. Directly behind me in the Mustang class, that's Mike Kelly, who Colin is getting past right now. And so that puts Colin behind me after having completed his first pit stop. An interesting strategy there is quite an early pit stop in the teens of laps. He may have just done a stop and go and wanted to get it over with. And Jeremy Burris there in the Domino Pizza livery, getting past Mike right there. Eric coming through some Miata traffic down the back straight into the final turn. And it looks like David is right behind him. David Soraro following him very, very closely here. Quite a battle for first place. And speaking of battles, it looks like Colin is coming up pretty close behind me. So, you know, I gotta see if I can keep him behind me without blocking him. He's definitely faster than I am on this track, but I've been keeping pretty good times, 14s and 15s, mostly in the 14 range though, and I think Colin has been doing a bunch of 13s probably. Race leader pace was in the 2-minute 13-second range. And coming through turn 1 past a Miata. Let's see if I can see in my rear view. I cannot see Colin yet. John's still ahead of me. by a good 4.7 seconds, it looks like, as he enters that right-hander. And, well, is that Eric? Is that Eric right there, who John just passed? I think it was. Eric must have made a terrible mistake to have lost the lead there. Unfortunately, the video didn't catch that, but that definitely looks like Eric's car. The, what is that, the 24 or 30? Well, the white-on-white numbers are tough to read, but definitely looks like Eric's car. And that brings David here into first position. And Jeremy here in the lower left, chasing Troy, the lap traffic, as I get past this Miata through the turn sequence, giving him enough room, and get ahead of him on the track out. John heading down the front, the back straight, and as am I. He's into the braking zone, and now I'm into the braking zone, so that gives you a decent sense of how far behind him I am. Down the front straight, crossing the front, the start finish. He's gotten past some Mustang here, into turn 1, and Eric is ahead of me. They're in the braking zone. Now I'm in the braking zone. So it looks like I'm catching up pretty well. I don't know if the pressure of having Eric behind him is messing John up or what. I don't think Eric must have had a pit stop there. He must have taken a pit stop because he doesn't look terribly off pace. And there I am in the lower left. You can see, oh, didn't stay on me long enough to see much of anything. And here I am again, passing this Mustang, so you can see 1/1000, 2/1000. Yeah, the lower left video is maybe 1.5 to 2 seconds behind the primary video, the big video. Oh, nice. Oh, that's where Eric made a mistake. Oh my gosh, Eric in the lower left, if you were watching that. John going through, tried to go through that turn 3 wide, and Eric just took too much width on his track out. Had a nasty hit against the wall and spun. That was a terrible, terrible mistake. Looks like he's back in the race now, though. Behind Colin. Colin trying to pass a Mustang to catch up with me. See me yet, so there you go. I passed the Miata, and then here we go, past the Miata again, and a couple seconds behind here. So Colin now very close indeed as we go through last turn. Alright, who's that green Miata? Let's see if I have them. I do not. You know, as I think about it, that may be Daniel Peralti in that Mustang there. I'll have to double check that, so don't quote me on it. Eric now looks like he's almost struggling to pass this Miata. He's lost a lot of speed in that hit. Oh, look at that turn. That was, he almost slowed down the Miata during that turn. So yes, He is definitely off pace now. It's interesting, he caught the wall with his right side, but it's the left side, left rear quarter that looks very damaged. He must have hit the wall off that spin quite hard. Jeremy struggling to get by Eric, but there he does it on the outside. Oh, Eric going wide, almost into the wall, so his race looks like it's pretty much over. That is a real pity. A contender for first place, and now he's going to be struggling just to keep from getting lapped a whole lot, with another 50 minutes left to go in this race. Colin again right behind me. He is less than a second behind. I wish the most interesting cam here would switch to that so you could see it, as I try to keep him behind me through these couple laps before my first pit stop. Into what it looks like about lap 18 or 19 at this point. There we go. So there I am in the lower left. You can see, making that left, making that right, and Colin behind me. Jeremy behind Colin, getting a bit slowed by Mustang traffic, so he's right now not much of a threat. Just now coming onto the straight, curved straight anyway, that I just exited on that hairpin turn, that hairpin right-hander. John, looking at John here ahead of me, that looks like Timothy Stoll ahead of him in the Mustang. He gets past... Oh! Looks like some contact there. Contact shook up John's tail going through the turn there, which slowed him down quite a bit. Now I'm able to take advantage. I'm right behind him now. And no, there's nothing on the inside, so I'm going to stick right behind him through that turn. On the straight, though, it looks like I've got a little bit more speed, maybe. Just a tiny bit. Yes, I am right alongside him. Gaining. The question is, what will happen through the last turn here? It's a tough one. Going too wide. I am able to take the inside line, smoke the tire a little bit, but I get a nice pass on him. Colin cannot. John, though, goes in for his pit stop, so Colin is still behind me then. Great little sequence of driving there. Colin chasing me down once again. And it looks like David probably in first position, I would expect. I'm looking right. Guess that means I was trying to check for Colin. I don't have a mirror on that side, so he must be quite close to me. But it doesn't look like he was able to get past me as I take my regular line through the hairpin. We raced this incidentally with no resets, no tows, so for the moment, since there is no damage repair, any damage you take is damage you gotta deal with through the whole race. So especially on an endurance race like this, it really pays to take good care of your car. I got a good line through that right-hander there, didn't jump the curb. Colin right behind me, got a little bit on the dirt, but not enough to even cause a 1X for off track. He's able to get a little bit of distance on Colin there through the turn sequence. Coming up on Dean. Dean on the straight. Pass on the right side. I got a little bit wiggly, a little wobbly out coming out of that turn. And Colin takes advantage of it. Colin making the pass. So I was finally not able to keep Colin behind me. But good amount of close racing there. Unfortunately, all happened behind me. But I will stick behind Colin here as much as I'm able to. Had a little bit of trouble coming through the last turn there. I'm on some pretty old tires. As you can see, I'm checking my fuel, seeing if I have another lap left. I do. So I'm going to try to run this tank as dry as I possibly can. I didn't do a full fuel run, and it's a new car, so I'm not used to how it drinks the fuel. It's a fairly thirsty car. So I'm just trying to make sure that I have enough for the whole race. My strategy here was run the tank fuel, run the tank empty, and then take a full fuel load and tires. And for my second stop, just do a stop and go. Let's see, we're getting past, what is that, Sean in the Mustang. And still sticking right behind Colin. I managed to pick up a little bit of time as I was a bit farther behind him before. Into the braking zone. No brake lights on these cars, as they are oval cars that normally don't need brake lights. Adds a little bit of challenge, but no more challenge than you get from any open wheel race, so easily handleable. Brake lights are just a crutch, right? Interesting fact about this late model, even though the shift light comes on at about 8,000 RPM, you want to shift at 7,000. That's the optimal shift point. It makes an enormous difference, 2 seconds per lap, easily. Colin coming now through this Mustang traffic. They are racing each other for position. I'm getting as much of a draft as I can off that Mustang there. That is Chuck, I believe. Chuck Chambliss. And I think that was Carl with Lance in a Mustang ahead of us. Oh, what a great job with all the traffic. We've got Mustangs going through with Miatas, with late models coming right up and passing on either side. I got a little bit worried that Lance was going to block me off or not give me room, so I went all the way to the wall, got a little bit of a tap on the wall, but nothing too bad. We've got Jills here in the Mustang to our right, and into the braking zone. Oh! Colin! I did not expect Colin to brake quite that much. I locked up trying to avoid him and lost a couple seconds. Fortunately kept it going straight, but on the grass. But that's definitely going to send Colin far, far away from me. Lance now. Lance dealing with Chuck on his right. Let's see if Chuck into the braking zone on the inside. Chuck, yes, with the pass. Carl almost into Lance, but not quite. Oh, Carl once again checking up on his brakes because he doesn't want to hit Lance. That's going to slow him down, though. Yep, you can see Carl, who was right on the back of Lance, is now several car lengths behind. Lance, a special shout out to him, who wanted to be in this video very desperately. Got your wish, man. Now you can die happy. I'm just glad I was able to show a pretty exciting piece of racing there, Lance and Chuck and Carl. Got Jills now with Chuck coming up right behind him. And it looks like, who is that? Jerry in the Miata, the Mobile One Miata. Jills in the Patron Mustang with Chuck right on his tail. That was a very good piece of driving by Chuck. Came right up behind him, but did not hit him. Gained lots of good time in that turn. As they get past Jerry. and head for the last turn here. Mustang not gaining nearly as... Oh, this is Alex. Alex finally some... as I enter the pits, Alex is getting past Jerry as well there and coming around the last turn. So he's done a great job of making up the time that he lost. Chem in the pits in the Miata right ahead of me, and Alex coming into the pits behind me. Well, now this is going to be an exciting race because Alex was very strong on this track, running some incredible times. I'm sure he would have qualified at least third if he'd gotten a clean lap in there. So now I'm going to have to deal with Alex behind me, and I'm off out of the pits. Full load of fuel and fresh tires. And there I go. And it looks like Alex is behind me exiting the pits. He said after the race that he did not take tires, which was a very bold move. This track was pretty gentle on tires for the late model, but even so, it's an endurance race, a 90-minute race, which is a good 30 minutes longer than our usual. Had it been a 60-minute race, I would not have taken tires, but I just did not trust those tires to be good through the full 90-minute span. And this was the only good opportunity to take new tires. I didn't lose very much time taking new tires, just a couple seconds longer than taking the full fuel load. Turns out I did not need a full fuel load. I could have gone, I took the full, I believe, 22 gallons. I could have gone probably with 18 or 19, but there only maybe a second lost in the pits. And did not matter anyway, as I said, because I spent about 5 extra seconds, maybe 4 or 5, taking tires in addition. Looking now at Jeremy Boers again with Jonelle right on his tail. So, man, it would have been a great day to have been racing as one of the two of them, because it looks like really exciting close racing for both of them through the whole hour and a half. I'm not sure how their pit strategies worked out, whether they pitted together or not. Colin now dealing with some Mustang traffic. And it looks like Jem gave them plenty of room to go on the inside as once again, Jeremy and Jonelle stick together. Looks like I've managed to put myself fairly high up in the standings for the moment with my pit strategy, but I expect I'll be dropping back down soon. I think I'm in 3rd position right now. I'm not sure how I managed that. But don't worry, don't expect that to last too long. Jonelle and Jeremy, once again, great. Just a car and a half length between them as they go under the Mobile 1 bridge and head into the braking zone for the hairpin. 54 minutes into this race, and I'm starting to wish I had a glass of water in front of me. Jerry getting past very close, nicely done through that left-hander, followed by the second shallow left-hander and the tough right-hander. My lovely assistant heard me and brought me that glass of water I was wishing for, so, ooh, much better, much better. Coming up here behind Carl, passing hopefully on the straight. Let's see, do I have it into, yes, into the braking zone. Looks like Carl gives it to me even though he had the inside line. That was a bit of a challenge to make there, but you can see in the lower left, executed without any real issues. And Lance ahead of me, passing him on the right, trying to catch up with Jill's here ahead of me now, into the braking zone. Not going to happen there, but I get a nice wide line, and oh, I have to slow it up a little bit not to hit Jill's. There you can see in the lower left. Ah, here it looks like Tim with leash and Mustang. Unfortunately, I cannot identify. Oh yes, I can. That's Julio Palacio, and it looks like they're having a nice close battle. Looks like Tim making a move on the right. They both got past the Miata there. Tim was very nice, gave plenty of room, but makes the pass easily into the braking zone for the final turn. Lance now being hounded by Jeremy Burris, but he's got plenty of that nice long back straight to make that pass. Looks like Jeremy is entering the back straight as I am just getting off of it, so I've put him pretty well behind me at this point, but not so far behind that one mistake couldn't change a whole lot. Whoa! What did I do? Oh, this was my second planned pit stop. That's what I did. My stop and go, I planned it for a couple laps after my main pit stop. I just did a little shakedown to see that I was confident with the fuel load and tires. Everything looked good, so coming in now to get that out of the way so I don't have to worry about it as the race ends. There we go, stop, and here we go. That's going to temporarily, I believe, put Jonelle and Jeremy ahead of me, as they have obviously planned their second pit stop sometime later in this race. And it looks like that's them right ahead of me. No, maybe not. Maybe not. That's some Mustang traffic. That's Julio on the Mustang. And John. It's John in the late model. Must be John Middleton, I think. As at this point in the race, John Vordron had taken himself out. I forgot exactly how he did that, but he had a pretty nasty crash, and that retired him. Ah, that reminds me, something I didn't mention is that 37 entries in this race in all three classes combined, and out of those 37, 33 finished. So a great job on the part of everyone there to make it through the race. Well, hopefully all that Miata and Mustang traffic slowed up Jeremy and Jonelle here so I can catch up. Looks like Jonelle trying to make a move on the outside. Still trying to make a move on the outside. Not going to happen. Or will it? It looks like he got a great exit through the final turn. might have a little bit more speed through the front straight. He does. He goes outside to try to pass Jeremy, and then the camera decides that's no longer exciting. I thought that was pretty exciting. The 33 car, is this John? Called him as being out of the race, but let's see. You know what, that was not John. Well, this is John Middleton here, so we're focusing on him in the lower left, but now... That's not Carl, I don't think. Maybe it is Carl. That could be Carl Moonbauer, but I don't think it is. The Red Bull car right behind him, however. No, that's not Carl. The Red Bull car, Red Bull Mustang, is James Mines coming up on the tail. There's James. Looks like he's closing just a little bit. And Gilles dealing with some traffic here. And there you've got some cars flashing in and out in the lower left. Oh, is this a pass? Or is this a lapped pass on the part of John and Carl? I'm not sure if John was lapping Carl at this point. It looked like a pretty easy pass on his part, but maybe Carl just got a bad exit out of the last turn. Looking now at Tim and Alex going through turn one together. Nicely done. And back to John, who is entering turn one, and I am too, which puts me just a little bit behind that synchronization issue that I mentioned because of the frame rates, now that we're an hour into the video, and I hope you've stuck with me here. Has started to take its toll, and the lower left is a little bit out of sync, noticeably, with the main video. Here I am doing passing Chuck Chambliss in the braking zone, as in the lower left it looks like we've got some great Mustang action. Let's see, between the Red Bull of James Mines, and let's see if I can identify. No, it doesn't look like I can identify the oh, that's a late model. That's a late model coming up here. Let me check my cheat sheet for late models. Nope, still nothing. I'll work on those for next race, as I mentioned. We'll have this thing down, no problem. Hopefully you've enjoyed the new format. I may still make some short videos that aren't the full race length, just with highlights. Actually, you know what? Let me know what you think. Tell me in the comments. Obviously, if you're still watching this, you probably like the long version, so I will put the call for votes into the description of the video. Let me know what you think. Which way would you like me to do this? If I do the short video recaps, I'm not going to be able to... Well, maybe I could still include the rest of the field in the lower left. It's possible, so it doesn't necessarily exclude them. Jeremy Bourse now with Jonelle nowhere in sight. I'm not sure what happened there. Probably he pitted though. Colin making... Ah, that's Eric. I'm sorry. That car that I couldn't identify, that looks like it's Eric. Eric Palacio, and getting lapped by Colin. A little bit of contact there, but nothing too strong. And, oh no, I've gone off! I've gone off, and I've gone sideways. Just avoided the tire wall, but that is going to hurt me quite a bit in the time. Looks like there are no late models coming up next to me, but I almost got passed by Sean Cuthbertson on the right in his Miata. There I am. You can see in the lower left. Is it going to show? No, it's showing me into the braking zone. It would have been nice for it to show me screwing up like that, but that was a bad entry into the beginning of the turn sequence, and I kept pushing it as if it wasn't, and that resulted in an off. No damage though, so the only harm done there was a couple of seconds off. Still, that can be very painful when you've got a really close race, as this one will hopefully end up being. There's John Middleton, and I don't remember where he was now in the position, so I'm not sure who he's chasing down now. Look at that Miata, beautifully driven, I believe, by Russell. They're almost passing a Mustang through the last turn. And there's Jonelle now, heading into the hairpin. And it's James, and not the Mustang that I apologize for not being able to identify. One hour, 8 minutes into the books. Giving us about 12 minutes now. I'm sorry, 22 minutes. Never try to do math when you're trying to speak live. You will always screw it up. 22 minutes still left in the race. Lots of things could happen here. And Alex passed me there while I was in for my pit stop, but I expect he's only made one so far, so I'm hoping for a slow one coming up sometime in the next few laps. There I am passing Tim once again. And oh, this looks like two cars with damage here now. We've got Eric having taken some damage, and I'm not sure who the car is behind him, but also looking similarly damaged in the rear quarter. And that is Alex now coming up on some slow traffic. Getting around it. And that puts him, as he crosses the bridge, quite a bit ahead of me at this point. But again, hoping for a pit stop on his part to slow him down enough for me to catch up. Nevertheless, coming from the back as he did, he's done an incredible job. And now I'm starting to wonder if that off I had is going to start to, or is going to make a difference in the finishing. I lost probably a crucial 5 to 8 seconds there. And that could matter a whole lot. So now here lapping, I'm not sure if this is Eric or not. It looks like it is Eric though, yes. And we haven't seen much from Matthew Shoemaker in a while. Here he is behind Tim. Tim in the Mustang. And gets a good pass there. Meanwhile, Jeremy coming through the last turn into the front straight. With James Mines on the inside. Making a pass there. Oh, past James, no surprise there. And the question here is going to be whether he can get past Carl. Not Carl. I'm sorry, the purple Mustang I can't identify, and he can't. Not until after turn 1. Looks like it didn't cost him too much there, though. And here I am coming down the front straight. So Jonelle, again, I'm hoping will end up behind me when he goes into pit. Bit of a slow section of race here, as everyone's pit strategies sort of jumble things around and take close competitors a little bit of ways away from them. So we'll have to let that all settle down probably in the last 6 laps, I'd say. Everything should be pretty much settled, and we'll see where everyone stands. Here I am coming up behind Chem, and I stayed behind him, but it looks like he went a little bit wide, worried maybe that I would punt him or dive bomb him through the turn, but no such danger, unfortunately. Hopefully didn't lose much time. Those Miatas are pretty easy to get back on track, though. And looks like there's a lot of action down the front straight here. And John Middleton ahead of me there, going into the final turn. Got James in his close battle. Looks like a great battle. Wish I knew who it was with, but nice and close with the Mustangs there. And who was that pitting? I think that was Jeremy Boers pitting. Yes, it was. So that's going to put me ahead of him. And there was another late model in the pits there. I can't quite read the name. And Colin making a pass around Lance there as he heads in towards the back turn section. And looking now at a late model I'm not sure of. And there we have also Sean Jury in the Mustang. Mustang following Carl Moonbauer, or Moonboer, not sure how to pronounce that exactly. I'm Meanwhile, I'm stuck behind a pair of Miatas through this turn sequence, but it's a good place to make a pass on the exit. Plenty of width there on the track. And I get past both of them into the braking zone. Looked like Jerry, I believe that was, or Jeremy, sorry, not Jerry, it was Jeremy in the leading Miata there that I passed. It looks like Jonelle is getting some good pressure on him. .34 car definitely not out of it, despite the damage it's got. And we have about 14 minutes, maybe 15 minutes left in the race. That's enough for maybe 8 more laps. 7 or 8 more laps. Probably more like 7, I would say. 7 laps. And as I look on my lap counter, it looks like I am on lap 34. So that jives perfectly there. Oh, I have a little bit of an off. And get it back on. Lost a little bit of time there, but it did not spin at that time. Kept off the gas while I was on the dirt. Alex there in the 6 car. Getting past Carl. I'm making a pass as we enter the braking zone here of James Mine's Mustang. There we go, nicely done, James, to keep that tidy. And now I can identify it's Mike Kelly in the purple and yellow Mustang. I'll try to keep that in mind as I comment on the rest of the race. Here we go, side by side through that sequence. Turn, nicely done, Mike. And into the braking zone. Down the back straight. And just about to get onto lap 35. Second gear and sliding the back out a little bit more than I wanted to, but keeping it aimed right at the grass there, just dodging the grass and getting good exit. Alex now passing Lance. What section of track is he on? They are going to be going onto the bridge pretty soon, so there they are, good 10 seconds ahead of me or so. Still hoping that Alex has another pit stop in him. Alex coming up now on James, having to follow behind him, and it looks like Matthew Shoemake is right on Alex's tail. I'm not sure if they're on the same lap or not. I believe that's Matthew in the 3 car. Following Mike Kelly into the braking zone. Oh! Contact! Contact! Alex has hit Mike Kelly in the braking zone. So that's to my advantage. Didn't disturb either of them too much, but definitely slowed Alex down. And Matthew was able to get by. As I head down into the final turn, we've got Lance and John Middleton entering turn 1. I hope I'm calling that car correctly. And I'm going past Sean into turn 1 in the lower left. There, that's Matthew in the 3 car. Looks like he's got Jeremy Burris hot on his tail, just a Mustang in between. But I don't think that'll last for long, as Jeremy will get by on this straight. And they're only a little bit behind me, as I have just gone through the hairpin, and now Jeremy is under the bridge and entering the braking zone for the hairpin. And he's got the 33 car right behind him, so lots of close racing there. Back to Carl now, and now, let's see, I'm not sure who this late model is that we're following now. Back to John as he follows some Miatas through the right-hander onto the back straight. And here again, checking in with Jonelle. Behind Tim McLeish into turn 1. And it looks like he's making a good chase here on the late model ahead of him. Again, won the yellow late model. I can't quite identify. Alex through turn, the last turn. And here I come through the last turn. So, even without the sync issues, they don't seem too bad here, as I'm past the start-finish, and I'm entering turn 1. Alex is already through turn 1, so only a couple seconds discrepancy there. And I have Jill's on my right. You can see both views of passing there and into the turn. And it looks like Carl Moonbauer now in the Mustang ahead of me. Past Carl, and Dean. Looks like Dean Air is the Miata. Yep, the Miata ahead of me now. Getting past him. Only about a 3 or 4 second discrepancy again between the videos, so that's not terrible. Enough that we can watch them, and it makes sense to do watch them together. Julio, great Mustang battle here with late model splitting them up just a little bit. Tim and Julio, Julio there. Eric now caught behind some slow traffic through the turns, and that's so I'm gonna try to break into, and no, I couldn't. I had too much speed entering that turn, and terrible job on my part. Tried to get past Lance here and tuck in right between Lance and the Miatas, but I had too much speed going past Lance. Ended up doing a dive bomb, locking up the brakes. Terrible job by me. The only good thing was that I took out both Miatas who were fighting, so they got back on track together. I hope I didn't screw up both of the races, but with luck they had enough of a lead on their nearest competitor that they were able to just resume their race as it was. 5 minutes left, and I had been catching up with Alex. I was about 2 seconds behind him, and that accident is going to dash my hopes of catching Alex. So now it's just a question of whether or not I can keep my position here for the last 2 laps as we enter turn 1 here. Things are getting pretty hot now with the Mustangs here. We've got Tim and Julio again, with Chum in the Miata getting passed on the inside by them as they enter the braking zone for the hairpin. I'm sorry, that wasn't the hairpin. That was the left-right. Not quite a chicane. It's too fast to be what I would consider a chicane, but almost a chicane. And it looks like John is having some trouble finding a way to get past them as Tim slows and goes for the outside line. Tim, don't be afraid to hold it and keep your fight up. And it's Lance behind Jeremy there. As Carl comes up behind Lance. Lance was slowed a little bit by my running into the Miatas, and that looks like it gave Carl an opportunity to make a run on him as they enter the braking zone for the sequence right before the back straight. And there they are on the back straight as I'm coming through the last turn. And let's see if the white flag is going to be waved. No white flag yet, so we have one more lap to go before the last lap. Now we're 28 into the race here. And it looks like most of the positions are decided, although I'm trying to see how close. No, Jeremy is way behind me, more than 10 seconds behind, so all I have to do is not mess up here. And Alex is, I think, 8 seconds ahead of me. I'm not going to make up that much time in 2 laps. So for me, it's just a question of keeping it strong so that Jeremy doesn't catch up and not making any mistakes. Jill's now catching up with Carl and Lance on the lower left screen. Great Mustang battle here. I believe this is, I think Lance said, for 8th place. And now we have Jerry Knitter, and I couldn't tell who the Miata was he was battling with. Back to Lance and Carl here. This is definitely the most exciting battle going on, I'd say, right now. The 33 car, I have to get the name for that. Obviously Canadian, got the big old maple leaf in red on the hood. Tim caught in between some Miatas with Alex behind them as they go onto the back straight, and I'm now entering the back straight. So if you include that 4-second desync, though, you can see I'm good 8 seconds behind Alex. And Alex is now braking into the final turn, which is going to put him onto the last lap. And here I am following him. Front straight, and I expect the white flag to be flying now. There it is. So, final lap here in the 3rd season opener of the ISRA GTC series rather. And I'm not in too much of a hurry at this point. I've pretty much got my place, 6th place, locked up. Or maybe it's 5th. I'm in 5th. I'm sorry. Alex is in 4th. And I'm in 5th. Jeremy is in 6th. Here I am winding through the turn sequence with the Miatas, and that looks like it was Ryan Korn, so I just passed. And we've got Jerry. Got past Jerry Knitter right there. Into the braking zone. And back now with Carl and Lance. Carl and Lance on the final lap. One less than a car length between them. As they negotiate the turn sequence after, so it's turn 2 and 3 going onto the bridge. And it chose to look at me now as I try to get past Tim. And of course I've already done so in the big video here. Back to Carl and Lance, alright. Coming into the right-hander now, the rather nasty hairpin, I believe. Alex easily on the back straight. About to enter the braking zone for the last turn. And his last turn of the race. Matthew Shoemake giving Carl and Lance the benefit of fighting it out, as he's probably also not in any danger. I'm not pushing it at all, taking it through the turn here with Julio in the Mustang, and not even bothering to get on the gas hard. And it looks like Matthew now weaving in between Carl and Lance. Lance still ahead, onto the back straight. And let's see, as they're going through the back straight, we're looking at Matthew. Hopefully the camera will switch over to Carl and Lance. I have now finished the race in 5th position, 5th place. Alex in 4th. I believe it was David Serwa in 1st, Colin in 2nd, and I'm not sure who was in 3rd.